Giving topic to Aruna. Study a place. Your woman outside with cousin whole day. You can't see face. The story end up on ladies' room. You disappear without trace. Voila. If all she know is papi show and stress outside, is love in the room. If you wanna have to girl, take care, they bust the files. When you fit in her loving tongue, baby, it's love in the room. Don't whine on me here, lady. It's love in the room. If he wanna fight and stray, it's love in the room. We playing with house Monday in the ladies' room. Na na na, it's only love in the ladies' room. It's love in the room. It's love in the room. What?
Well, we are back in the room for today, Thursday, April 10th, and of course, it is the final one for the week. Good morning, everybody. Those of you who are, no, I didn't share, who are here with me today, thank you so much for taking time off. You know, of course, it's Athletic Action Day 3 at the Kirani James National Stadium, and I know that all eyes are definitely on the different devices or listening wherever you can. But of course, you know, there are some folks who are neither here nor there, so they're always powered up, you know, and we're still taking time out to still do what we do here every day, keep you informed, keep you entertained, and at the same time, you know, keep you up to date with the, what happened to them outside, eh? What happened to them outside, eh? Something, what is this loud whine out there? Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, just had to take a minute to share my life. So good morning to everyone. Welcome back to the room. Thank you so much, Jackie. Appreciate you and everybody else. Happy Thursday. Happy intercall. And the final day, like I said, thank you so much to our friends at Beacon Insurance, Western Union, and Nirvana. I'm not going to stay for a very, 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 very long time. You know, we're going to do like 30 minutes, which we're supposed to do anyways, but we go overboard some days. But we're still here to talk the talk. And I really want to have this conversation and probably repeat it next week when we have more of you, more of your attention, right? Because I don't want it to go in one ear and come out the other. It's very, very imperative we have this conversation again. As a matter of fact, I spoke about it yesterday. We spoke a lot about online trolls, people who go online and just say anything. And this was before, what transpired and what had the internet in an uproar yesterday. So we basically spent yesterday morning speaking on online people who view online live streams and the comments they make, etc. But before we get to that, as always, let me just shout out my listeners online or radio 95.1, 95.3. Shout out to you if you're viewing on YouTube or on Facebook. All right. And thank you so much for giving me a listening ear. Marianne, good morning. I see you. Good morning. Nikisha, happy Intercall Day, she says. Gied's Terrace, good morning. Linda Pearl, Jay Laborde, JJ, good morning. Valerie, Jenny, good morning. Jackie Chaiton, Elizabeth, good morning to you. Roxanne, shout out to Rachel, Sharon, Nichelle. I am well, thank you. Fatima, Shirley, Precious, Hermelin, blessed morning to everyone. Maureen, Christelle, Sherry Ann, I see you. Morning, Della. Nissy, hope you're feeling better. We'll be better in quick time. Also, you're all over the place. I know, I am too. Tamasha, good morning. Kadina, Desra, of course, boss lady on the inside. Denise Parkland Gang, good morning. Morning, Amanda. And Camille. So yeah, I'm definitely all over as well. I understand, especially if you are a past pupil, you want to see your school do well. And like I said yesterday, that is understandable, right? The emotions, everybody's running high, the adrenaline. You want your school to do well, but at the end of the day, only one can emerge the winner. Even if we have a tie, well, that's very rare, but only one can emerge winner. And in the true spirit of sportsmanship, yeah? And like I said yesterday, it's not even the students. It's us as the adults that's creating problems. I'm not going to go into the details of who's right, who's wrong as to what transpired yesterday. I think we're all big enough, yeah? We, as what's his name from Trinidad said, we big and we have sense, right? And there's enough going around without me having to speak on it. But what I want to speak on this morning is the young man in the center of all this. And, sometimes things happen and we just jump feet first. We don't sit back. We don't, analyze. We don't, it's just like everybody's just so hot. And the minute time you say, everybody jumps. Not even know what we're jumping into, but we jump. So we saw what transpired yesterday. It basically put a damper on the whole intercall mood because it took the attention away from, the amazing work, the amazing athletes we have from the different schools, records being broken. Cachet, Stephen, big of yourself, broke Dr. Kirani James's record. And, on the field, on the track, amazing work being done by our athletes, high jump, long jump, javelin, shot put, all the field stuff plus the track, and seeing so many people excited about it, seeing so many people logged on and, taking in the action and cheering for their schools, whether they're here or they're out in the diaspora. They were just so into it. And, it's really nice to see, that sort of interest in our children's development. And speaking of which, I want to take time out to give a quick shout out to, I mentioned it yesterday, I highlighted it yesterday on my page, a quick shout out to the business community who have embraced some of the schools, and keeping fingers crossed next year we will have all the schools with some company's name before them. So big up to all the companies that are sponsoring the schools and being named as such. It's really nice to see more of you coming on board, and hopefully more of the schools will have that as well. So that was a really good look for the business community. Of course, it's important that we give back and put what happened to her? Why is she over here? Yeah, it's important that we give back, and pour into our young people. So like I said, yesterday we all saw what transpired, right? And basically, the young man said no comment when asked the question, however it went, before question, after question, whatever the case might be. And I want to shout out Callistra Farrier as well for taking the time out to speak to him, you know, and getting the response she got from him. I really. Hold on. Let me tell these people out there that there's still work going on in here. Let me just remind them in the office that we're still working. Thank you. Yeah, like they forget today's a working day. They're having a time of their lives in intercall. All right, so yeah. So I want to shout out Callistra Farrier for taking the time out to speak to him to get a better understanding. Because, you know, that was a really good move on her part. So I want to big up Callistra for that. As you see, Grenville is sponsored by ABE by Ambika, send it to me on my WhatsApp, so I'll add it after. Yeah. So what we have to understand, right? A lot of the times, what we find is these athletes are basically out there training. And training does not necessarily involve public speaking or media appearances or anything of the sort. It's basically to go on the field, go on the track, do your best to win, and that is it. And like I always say, even us as adults, put a camera, put a mic in front of us, and we freeze. I think I've said umpteen amount of times that while I exude confidence in this space, in this room, put me on a stage and it's like I literally freeze. That is why you don't see me outdoing people, because it's not because people don't ask. I'm always getting asked, can you host this event? Can you do this event? And I'm like, nope, that's not my speed. I'm comfortable in my little room talking and, you know, whoever listening. I just have not mastered the confidence as yet to stand before a stage or stand on a stage and stand before a crowd. I've done it a couple times, but I don't think it was my best. And whenever I'm doing something, it has to be my best. And I know it's something, if I want to do it, I can do it. It's just a matter of working on my self-confidence. And there are a lot of people who have the same thing, stage fright. You're not comfortable speaking publicly. You can talk amongst your friends, you can be yourselves, chit-chat, yada, yada, yada. But a mic in front of you is a completely different story. And that is what we have to understand. And before I go further, let me play what his response was when Callistra spoke to him, and then we'll discuss his response. Yeah? So let me just add him to the stage, and we'll take it from there.
Why is he weren't willing to speak at the time?
Because I really have nothing to say, because the other day, when Kyle do an interview, and he make a mistake, they penalize him for that, and I just didn't want to say mistake.
When you say they penalize, explain.
In the comment section, they start to laugh when they don't want to say.
Okay, so you were like you didn't want to be treated that way. Okay. And did you hear the comments? Have you been seeing online the comments from the that were being made because of what the commentator said, or you felt about what he said?
I understand, I just said no comment, I don't know why you have to hear so.
So in future, maybe the media come to you, you might be willing to talk, or you'd still be shy that you'll be bullied online?
Come on, I'll talk next time.
All right, so there we have it. So it's definitely a teaching and a learning. It's a little bit more, nothing, but that is the part that I wanted. And this can be a teaching and a learning moment for a lot of us, right? And like he said, and I spoke about this yesterday morning, and this is before this transpired, about the way some of you behave on these lives, the way you speak about these children, the way you mock, you jeer, you laugh at them, and you think that they're not seeing it. And it is adults who are doing it. It is not students. It is grown men, grown women who should know better that don't do better. Right? We had this conversation yesterday morning about some of your behavior under these lives. Everything for two kikis, two laughs, two likes, and you think that, okay, I am the clown of the day because I got 3 or 4 people to react to what I said, or I started a thread with people encouraging me, so I feel, okay, that is my Superman blanket for the day. I feel good. You know that song, I feel good? Yeah, yeah, so you go about your business not caring about what effect what you've said have on these children. There's a lot of them who go back and look at their lives because they want to see how they performed, they want to see how they did, and of course, the comments are there. They're going to read it. So to hear him say that was the reason he said no comment, a lot of you ought to feel a type of way this morning and really feel ashamed of yourself when you know you're guilty of going on these lives and making fun of these children, the way they look, the way they speak, etc. And I can be a testimony to this because we have this town versus country, or country children speak like this and they speak like that. And we always competing and putting this against that and causing problems when there's absolutely no need. So to hear him say he declined to comment because he was fearful of what some of you would say, or the fact that you may make fun of him, is really, really heartbreaking for this young man who is putting his all into what he does, doing his very best for his school. They may not be the best speakers. They may not sound polished the way you want them to sound, but they're doing what a lot of us can do, have not done, and probably will never do. It is always easy to criticize. There are a lot of you who are in different positions where you can lend your support and say, you know what, this is something that we encounter every year. You know, certain children not able to, respond well to questions asked. How about I take my time and give off my time to said school where I know there's a certain amount of students or whoever, athletes who may need my help. How about let me go to those schools and volunteer my time or give my time to let's have a little, crash course, public speaking and all those things. We are never ready or busy to lend a hand or to support anything. But call us up to criticize, tear down, first in line. And we're doing it without pay. No reimbursement is not necessary because it makes you feel good at the expense of somebody else. Why? So out of everything, there's a lesson to be learned. And this could be a teaching and a lesson for us, a moment for us to take and run with. Because they may not stay here forever. They may travel. Like, the other individual stated that is also true. And whilst they also have a right to say no comment because they don't feel like in the moment, but they cannot go throughout the entire career saying no comment. At some point, they're going to have to speak. So maybe that is where we need to now focus our attention to get them up to speed. They don't have to give no long speech, but just the basic who, where, what, when, why. How was the race? How do you feel? And nothing complicated. Because sometimes I think we forget that we're speaking to students or not adults. And the way you would ask an adult a question, you will have to think of a way to make it simple for a student because they're already hot in the moment, they're excited on whatever, and it will give them, to formulate the proper response. And it may not be one that you as the listening audience would like, and they will come off a particular way. So also media practitioners. Yes, you want to sound good in the moment. Yes, you want to sound like you're coming across intelligently and yada, yada, yada. But you also have to remember you are dealing with children. And I think that is where we were missing and missing the picture is going off screen. The point remains, these are children. The way you would question an adult, it may not necessarily be the same for a student. No two students are the same. I see someone in the audience saying, PBC children, PBC students, where is it? I missed it. I noticed the PBC boys were very well spoken. It seems like they were trained. So if that's the case, that is something the other schools need to start doing, and not just going on the track or going on the field and train, but also have lessons, have training in public speaking, and stuff like that. Because, like I said, they all will not be prepared. They all will not come across sounding the way we want them to sound. He was fearful of being mocked and ridiculed online as his other friend had. Right, Andrea? So that's why I said there ought to be training on effective communication, being interviewed after your race. So even prior to the race, or we have an entire itinerary, we know what's coming next. Maybe what can be done is all the students, pull them aside, not students, sorry, athletes, pull them aside, and hey, we're not sure who's going to win the race just yet, but whoever wins, we would like to interview you, and these are some of the questions we would probably ask. So mentally, they prepare themselves. Because you just finished barreling down the track, 100 meters, and you're coming off panting, hot and sweaty, and a mic is in your face. Your thoughts are all over the place. You just won the race, emotions are high, crowd cheering, you're seeing noise, you're hearing noise, you're seeing people cheering for you, you're all over the place. So maybe that's something that can be done prior. They go to the athletes' village, give them a little heads up. After your race, after your field event, whoever wins, we would like the opportunity to ask you a couple questions. Nothing too hard, basically about your training, maybe how you did it, what's next for you, how you feel about your performance. So they already prepped themselves. Or we start including it as part of the athlete's training. Yeah? Lisa says, in all honesty, I did laugh and share the video. However, after yesterday listening to Aruna, I had to check myself. It was wrong. It is. Just imagine somebody laughing at you just because you made a simple mistake instead of correcting or helping the students correct their errors and help them learn how to speak to give them confidence. No, they're not doing that. They're on these lives, and not only making fun of them, what people would do, take the clipping of them, make these little videos and share it around, and it goes viral. Everybody's sharing, and everybody's under it laughing. How do you think it make them feel though? Imagine you're out there running your heart off and you come off and you're back, okay, let me go check to see how I did. Let me see how people feel. And then you're seeing all these comments making fun of how you speak. We're in 2025 for crying out loud. And certain things we just need to do better with. There's a lot of bullies online. A lot of you know who you are. And the thing about it is, they wouldn't go far if they didn't have a lot of you supporting them. A lot of you support the foolery because, as the saying goes, once you give a clown a stage, he's going to perform. So you have people out there who are suddenly performing and they're getting an audience. So of course they're going to perform. We've become so insensitive. We lack empathy. We become so inhumane, I don't know, desensitized to everything. It's like we forget that something could happen to us as well, and we could be in a similar situation, or a child or children could be. The only time people take offense or have issue is when it hits close to home. So if it happens to their family member or to their friend or to their child, then it's wrong. But if wrong is wrong, it should be wrong across the board, irrespective of who it is. Aline Francique, Kirani James, when these guys run back in the day, you could barely get 2 words out of them. But over the years, with experience and time, they're now able to hold a conversation. But they didn't start that way. Nobody starts off being perfect at anything. We just need to learn to start encouraging people more and supporting instead of always finding a way to tear down and to drag people and take everything and make a joke and laugh at it. Same as Usain Bolt. Same as Usain Bolt. They didn't just start being perfect. They didn't just start running, smashing records and winning Olympic medals. But they had to learn, okay, part of it may require media presence. I may need to answer questions. I may need to do certain things. So I have to start working on that part where I'm weak. I'm good on the track, but I'm weak in public speaking. So I have to work on that. Either I get a PR or I get somebody to help me or to help train me as to what to say, when to say, whatever the case might be. I would not have an issue much if it was other children. Because children are little bullies too. But I wouldn't mind so much if it were children doing that. But what I have an issue with is adults. Adults. We shouldn't be given all this energy towards how the young man spoke or speaks. As a Grenadian people, we are the most critical of how each other speak. Country versus town was a thing. I'm telling you. It is a thing. And you would think that with all these years, but we are still doing the comparison. Oh, you're from country, oh, you're from town, oh, you're from... What does that have to do with the price of bread? Like, seriously, what does that have to do with the price of nutmeg? Big up yourself, Rasta. Yeah. And he's multi-talented. He also plays football for Grenada. So we lift people up on one hand, and then we break them down completely on the other hand. And the breakdown is way more than the lifting up. The breakdown is way more than the lifting up. We are taking too much pleasure in breaking people down. And at some point, we have to get it together. At some point, we have to stop and say, nah, that is not a good look. You know, I may think it, but I may not necessarily have to type it. There's a lot of things that comes to my mind sometimes, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone. You know how much time I hit backspace? Or how many statuses I would write and be like, you know what? I think it's better if you left that alone. I'm not saying you're not tempted, because at the end of the day, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination. But you have to get to a stage in life when you have to check yourself. You're able to check and listen to yourself and not get pulled in so much by social media. Social media is turning people into, I don't know. There's life outside of social media. And here in the real world, we forget that we don't solely exist on social media. That is what, exactly, Solange. I keep saying this is what causes the youths to have low self-esteem and would always see themselves not worthy. Some humans just don't know how and when to stop the nonsense instead of them lifting up. If they don't know this is bullying, grown folks do it too. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's adults that I see on social media doing it. Not children, adults. We don't speak the Queen's English. We have our patois. But being able to, you think the way I speak on air, when I come off air, I'm speaking standard English and good pronunciation and checking my green verbs and grammar. Nope. I'm as colloquial as it comes. Why are you doing there? Where are you there? You don't have time to ask you, where are you? And time and place, depending on who I'm speaking to. You won't go into a formal setting or go to, you know, an office and or having a conversation asking where you dey or are good. So I don't see any. See, that's why I always say I love, love, love Jamaicans for. They are so true to themselves no matter where they go. They ain't fighting to sound like no British. They ain't fighting to sound like no English, US. No. They want you to know they're Jamaican. They could be lawyer, doctor, police. They're not putting on anything or taking out anything. And that is why I love them for. They appreciate who they are. They appreciate the culture. That's what I love about them. And I'm not speaking about the young man generally. I'm talking about the young man in terms of the breakdown is way more. I'm speaking generally. You may not understand it, but for somebody who's been in the spotlight for literally all of my adult life, trust and believe I say, the breakdown a lot of the times is way more than the lift up. Very rare. It's like complimenting somebody is like you have to pay them $1 million to compliment them. It is easier to critique than to compliment. Somebody would find everything you did wrong to excuse the good you're doing. And that is just how we are. Even if you do something good, well, forget that, but she did this and she that and she this, the other, whatever the case might be. So it's like whatever you did that was not pleasing in their sight, it totally dismisses or discounts whatever good you're doing or trying to do. We are more proud of breaking down than building up. Very few people would say, hey, I like your program. Oh, I like your hair. Oh, I like your shoe. Oh, I like your dress. Otherwise, she feels she doing something. That'll looking good. She feels she doing something too much. Watch her. What are him? He feel he's this and that and the other and he broke such him in this. He gonna put $10 gas in the gas station. We always find the worst to say about people. That's all. And it's like social media are giving people some sort of bravery they don't possess in real life. Because when you see a lot of the people who you see as bullies on social media, in real life, they barely utter 2 words when they see you. They avoid looking at you. So social media gives people courage they don't possess in real life. And it is sad because that's what you're supposed to be working on, your real life situation and not your social media persona. Because a lot of the time they say, people seem to forget that we know them or they know me or they know others in real life, not what you put out on social media. We know the real you outside of social media. So, again, we can do better. Let's do better. Yeah? If we're in a position to help, let's help. If we can't, zip your mouth. Put your finger in your pocket or put it on your side or scratch your head or something if you feel the temptation. If you're in a position to assist the students who may not be doing well speaking publicly, let's see how we can work on that for the next intercall games. Let's reach out to the schools and offer assistance. Hey, Burns, Audie said the conversation needs to be extended more, but let's all try to do better in our interactions. That's all. That's all we need to do. Yeah? We've become too comfortable with disrespecting people and bullying people on social media. And I really think it's time that our laws be changed, because there are people who make a living out of bullying other people. And you make reports and the police are literally saying, hey, we can't do anything. So once they're aware of that, that is like red light, green light, go. Let's do the most now. People should be held accountable and responsible for the damage they inflict on people via their social media space. There's too many people just saying what they want, doing what they want about people with no consequences. True, false, whatever the case might be. There's way too many of you sitting comfortable behind screens and fake profiles and what have you, bullying people on a daily basis. Christopher Thomas Rayburn, I would not agree with that statement that it's a waste of time. We just need to do more. We're doing well on the track and on the field. We just need to work now. These difficulties are a waste of time if there's no athletes academy. Scholarships, a pillar and tools to enhance those who've done well to fulfill. They do have a lot of students get scholarships, sports scholarships. But like I said, we just need to take time out now to really and critically analyze where we are and how we can fix certain things. Yeah? I mean, we can't compare ourselves to Jamaica. Jamaica, it's like they invest in it. They understand that this is a way out of poverty. They understand that and having Usain Bolt, etc., as examples, of course, they take it seriously. So we have to look at this from all different angles and see how we can up the ante, how we can do better, and not just, get hot and bothered in the moment when something happens and then we move on. And then we come back next year and it's the same old attitude, same old, over and over again. Lessons are there to be learned from this situation, and I hope, as GS says, all concerned are held to account and we can take this and make it work. Case in point, Sherry, and I'm glad you raised this. Let me say this quickly before I leave. I didn't mean to stay here so long. I saw it as well. Somebody posted on one of those pages where you buy stuff, posted that a young lady and young man had HIV and AIDS. And the young lady had to go get herself tested just to prove that is not the case. I hope that the person who did that will be held accountable. And a serious example be made of this person. Because some of you are doing too much, like I said, and you're not being held to task, and you're not being made an example of, so it's okay. Posted somebody's picture, the young lady's picture, and with the caption that she is HIV positive. So much so the young lady had to go do her test and publicly post it to show that is not the case. I hope this person made a police report and you got yourself a lawyer and you will pursue this to the highest extent of the law. We can do better. And note I said we. If we know better, let's do better. If you have not seen the video, I suggest you look at it so at least it will juke some little conscience that you probably have hidden far, far away when you're tempted to post or make some smart or throw some shade or belittle these athletes. Your conscience, your moral compass will kick in and say, you know what? Okay, let me hit backspace. Yeah? So on that note, I bid you guys adieu. Have a good rest of the day. Be safe. Thank you, those of you who took the time out to come in the room. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you so much, Beacon Insurance, Western Union, and Nirvana for checking in with us today. And we will continue this conversation because, like I said, I know a lot of folks are, they're all over the place, in and out, but we need to continue the conversation. This one's about anyways, GBSS. Anyways, Nawasa Sass, good morning. Everybody else, whatever. And St. Joseph's Convent, St. Andrew. Oh, big up the SJC St. George's as well. That was a brilliant march past yesterday. Well done. They definitely earned it. No dispute, no complaint. They nailed it to in the march past yesterday. So big up yourself. Big up yourself, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. All right, I'll see you all next week.